You're probably familiar with how helpful it is to actually know what you want. And the reason it's so useful is because when we're in touch with the desire that lies in that place of knowing what we want, it helps us to prioritize and choose what we want. And it's very, very energizing. What I've noticed, however, is that although there are lots of types of desire, there are broadly speaking two categories. And one of them brings a lot more satisfaction than the other. Firstly, the more challenging one is when it comes from a place of survival stress. And what I mean by that is that it's got this kind of compulsive feel to it. It's like, I really need something. I really, it's a narrow, focused kind of need. And there isn't anything else. I mean, you could, at its extreme, think of addiction, for example, as that. But it could also be, I've got to buy that next product, whatever it is, that sort of thing. The thing is, it's got a level of satisfaction to it, but it's short-lived. And it's the kind of thing where we go through with an action and find out at the end, it really didn't scratch that itch. It really didn't fulfill that need so well. So that's survival stress, and we operate from it a lot, and it's useful and needed. And then there's the other type, which I like to think of as coming from the creative mind, in contrast to survival stress. So for me, the creative mind is that place where when the desire comes, it has a spaciousness around it. We can feel this sort of space. So it may be strong, maybe even stronger, but what it doesn't have is that narrowness. It may have the clarity that we know exactly what we want and what we're going for, but it doesn't have that narrow feeling. And it has enough space and lightness around it to actually allow us to change direction as we're moving towards what we want. You can think of it being a bit more like when we're in touch with that real purpose, that true, authentic purpose. But of course, it doesn't have to apply only to big things like that. It can be available for the smaller things. So what I'd be interested in is if you actually looked just now into your experience and maybe over the next days, into when you actually want something and whether it has this feeling of this closed-in space or that openness, and maybe even see what happens when you follow one or the other.